Hey everybody, me and Miss Embry are here at school. She's filming for me. Very kind of her. So I just wanted to review the water cycle real quick and thinking about the different steps of the water cycle. So you know that the sun is what drives the water cycle. It's what heats up the water to help it move, because that's all that a cycle is just that water moving through earth over and over from the atmosphere to the surface, and repeating that process. So if you think of the steps of the water cycle, remember that we have evaporation. So that's when the sun heats the water, and the water is going to turn from what state to what state? From a liquid to a gas. We did this with our jars in class this year. We had the water in the jars, and the sun let the water evaporate. I didn't pour out the water in the evenings. It was just turning from liquid to gas. So through evaporation, water turns from liquid to a gas, and it goes from the surface up to the atmosphere. Once that water is in the atmosphere, it's a vapor, which is another word for a gas, but it's still water. And so remember, for condensation, we have the 3 C's. We have condensation, it forms the clouds, and it happens because the water is cooling. So the 3rd C is cooling. That gas cools back down, and the water turns back into liquid, tiny, tiny liquid droplets, and those form the clouds. So that's condensation. Well, once the clouds get heavy and they become dark, of course that water is going to fall down. I'm not sure if you can see it in the picture, but there is a little bit of rain in the picture. The water is going to fall down in 4 different forms. So that would be rain, snow, sleet, or hail. Some of that is solid, like hail and sleet and snow, and then some of it is a liquid, like the rain. And all of that is called precipitation. So it's not really changing forms, but it can fall down in different forms. Once the water has fallen down, 2 things can happen. And right here it just says collection. But you know that the water can collect underground. We would call that groundwater, so we're going to use that when we have a well and we're pumping water. Plants are also going to use that groundwater to soak up through their roots so that they can live. So the water that's collected is groundwater, but some of that water does not seep into the earth. Some of that water is going to run back over the land, and it's going to go back to a body of water, like an ocean or a lake or a river or a stream, and we just call that runoff, because it's exactly what the water is doing. It's running over the land and going back. The only thing that this picture is missing, we have some plants here, and if you remember the term for when water is released through plant leaves, that is called transpiration. And again, the water, it's kind of like evaporation. It's going to go from a liquid to a gas, and it's released through the plant leaves back into the atmosphere. Okay, so that's our water cycle.